Hi everyone, this is Natasha and I want to share with you my ETCs for the August swap on yourpaperpantry.ning.com. The theme was preserving or putting up, and the color challenge was cream or ivory and peach, which I have to say there's not a stitch of black anywhere on here, even on the back. I do have black on my information, but I started off with chipboard base, and the first layer was ivory cardstock from Staples, then a peach cardstock layer that was run through Swiss Dots embossing folder for just a little bit of texture, then a pattern paper from Die Cuts with a View, it's this particular one, from Die Cuts with a View Belle Cafe stack, and I did use the 12 by 12 because I had enough left over, obviously, right here, to for all the ATCs that I needed, because I thought just having the peach and the cream layer was just there was not enough texture. And then the embellishment, the 3D embellishment that I made for the top, centered around this Spellbinder Shapeabilities little jar. And I cut and embossed that with craft paper, and here's my prototype that was in white. So there's two layers with foam adhesive in between. And then the top layer, which is the label, the jar label, was cut with the smallest of the Spellbinders Nestabilities Classic Scalloped Ovals Large. And the reason I used this is because I had the little scallops that mimic the scallops in the jar lid, because I had tried out another option which you could totally do, which is this Spellbinders Nestabilities Labels 21, and the smallest one, which is this size, makes this adorable little label. So that would have looked cute as well on the jar, for example, like that. But I really wanted to mimic the little scalloping, so that's why I used that particular one, but that is also an option. And then I also added a little tag that says jam, and I stamped the jam with this dollar spot or dollar Studio G stamps, clear stamps. And one little trick, I know it's easier to spell out the word jam and stamp it once. However, because there's edging to the, oh sorry, let me see if it'll focus. Because there's edging to even the rubber stamps, although I did trim down the ones that I needed to use, they still didn't fit quite as closely as I needed them to. And the little tiny apple is from another Studio G stamp, and so I think it's a teacher's one. That little stamp. So that's why these stamps come in really useful when you need something, a little something something. So that's the tiny little apple and the word jam, which I spelled out individually. Just placed each stamp on a separate block and then stamped one letter at a time. When you have a very small space, and this is my tip for the day, because I also was adding a flower to the front or to the edge of it, I wanted to make sure that the entire word was visible. So I started with the flower, with the apple, then the M, and I stamped each one of them because I had 7 to do, and spaced them out just a little off center or off line. And this tiny little tag was cut out of the Sizzix Original dies. It's 380943, and I think it's just Tags Traditional Combo. It's the smallest one. See, it's the really old ones. Oh, you could see my window. Hi, window. I'm trying to use natural light right now. So once I layered all these, I cut 2 of the jars, layered them with 1/8 inch dimensional foam, and then a little thicker foam for the label, but the label was naked and I didn't want to leave it just naked, so I commandeered my niece's sticker sheets. I have a whole stash of craft supplies that I have when I go to their house. So, because she always runs to my purse and says, do we have a craft project to do? Which is really cute. So I had this in my purse actually from the last time I was over there. But I didn't have enough of the same red apple, which is what I used for all the swappers. So my version has the little cut open apple. I wish I had all of the same ones, but unfortunately I didn't. So I used the apple, so it's the apple jam that's inside. So it's just a little puffy sticker, but it was matte, which matched really nicely. And then on the tag, I used these adorable peach 10mm Wild Orchid Crafts roses. Hopefully it'll focus in a second. Yeah, okay. Focus. Yeah, no. I tried. Let's see if it'll do that. There you go. So you see there's a little bit of dimension and texture from the little embossed love layer. So that's my ATC for preserving. And the ink I used, I forgot to mention that, is Ripe Persimmon. I know it looks orange, but when you place it next to peach paper, it looks peach. So I just used that with my little fingertip dauber, which I do have them all labeled. And before I get asked, I'm sure I think I will, I store those in this little case. So all my little fingertip daubers are in the case. And that's where the Ripe Persimmon goes. See that? So there you go. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. I will have close-up photographs on my blog of the project along this ATC along with a recipe, or what I call a recipe. So if you want to know any of the products that I use, whenever possible, I do provide links. If something is no longer available, you'll just see the description rather than the actual link. And you'll see that the links are designated by blue text and underline, and if you scroll your mouse over it, it will change from black to blue for the text. As always, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Don't forget to stop by yourpaperpantry.ning.com to join us. And there's a sneak peek of what we'll be doing in October, something new. In addition to the ATC swap, there'll be something else, and I'm going to do a separate video about that. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the entire group's ATCs. I will do that as a separate video as well.